Now we move on to our closing panel, Green Innovation, Developing Future-Proof Technologies and Business Models. Reaching the net zero goal will require us to reinvent every single aspect of life on the planet, from the way we produce and consume energy to the food we eat. This represents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for developing countries to build competitive advantages in new technologies and leapfrog from business as usual to a sustainable development pathway. Our moderator for this panel is Aleksandar Mastilović, an expert in telecommunications and digital transformation. Welcome. Joining him on the panel are Nina Drakić, President of the Chamber of Commerce of Montenegro. No high heels, okay. Welcome. Uranik Begu, Executive Director of Innovation Center Kosovo. Vesna Bengin, co-founder of the BioSense Institute. And Ernest, Vlačić, Ph.D. MBA, University and College Professor. Welcome everyone, enjoy.
At the beginning, I would like to thank you everybody who decided to stay with us for this closing panel. I know that you already hear many messages, many important takeaways, and it's always a challenge how to keep your attention at the end. And we really try to be innovative, as we have in the title, and we'll try to discuss very interesting things because innovation is not only about technologies, as many people think it's some kind of trap. We will try to think a little bit out of box and try to see what we need as a key enablers to make green innovation happening right now here. It's not easy. We will touch innovation, we will touch green, we will touch technologies and new business models, but luckily for me here and my role, I have amazing, outstanding panelists here to help me to bring this story to you. I will just underline the structure of our discussion, and maybe it's going to be easier for you to follow. We will talk about green innovation, we will talk about technologies, but we will also discuss a little bit about the finance allocation and the resource allocation to make the things happening, and also policies, regulation, legislation, what is necessary to fulfill the whole picture for the final ESG success and launching, especially in the Western Balkans region. I will not take too much time from my amazing panelists, and actually I will invite you for a quick round on short introduction about you, about your institution and your motivation to join us here in the panels.
Thank you, Aleksandar. As I said at the beginning, Aleksandar, I will talk on Montenegrin because it's much easier for me and I'm speaking faster and better. Moje ime je Nina Drakić i predsjednica sam Privredne komore Crne Gore, asocijacije koja okuplja cjelokupnu crnogorsku privredu i zastupa njihove zajedničke interese. Upravo ESG Summit Zapadnog Balkana kao summit koji se po prvi put organizuje u Crnoj Gori jeste tema koja tek treba dobiti zamah u regionu Zapadnog Balkana i posebno u Crnoj Gori i kao institucija koja funkcioniše i radi sa cjelokupnom crnogorskom privredom, osjećamo se odgovornim i važnim akterom u društvu koji treba da doprinese upravo usvajanju ESG standarda u poslovanju crnogorskih kompanija, tako da sve u cilju jačanja njihove konkurentnosti i poslovanja sa evropskim i širim tržištima.
Thank you very much for this introduction. Mr. Begu?
Yes, thank you. Second time I'm on the stage. I'm here actually when I talked to Biljana and joining this conference. I was the head of Innovation Center Kosovo, an organization which has really nurtured and supported I would say the innovation ecosystem in Kosovo, but also in the region. For over 10 years, I've been the executive director of the center, really working with not only startups, but also with government and other stakeholders in creating that added value to our economic performance. But among all other things, creating hope that this region can create sustainable innovation, can create jobs. It's a place where our ultimate goal was to create opportunities for young people. At Innovation Center Kosovo, we really supported 550 startups, which is a great sign and positive impulse for our economy, but among other things is also an impulse for young people to really start to create and believe that they can create in this region. Recently, just this week, I've taken on a new role after more than 10 years at ICK. As I announced on my previous presentation, I became Director of Western Balkans for Plug, which is one of the leading accelerator funds, but also innovation, open innovation platforms. And through this platform, I think I'll be able maybe to elaborate. We are bringing on the missing puzzle piece, which really integrates all of our individual efforts as communities, as economies, in order to really scale and integrate this part of the region with the latest trends and developers globally. Happy to be here and really enjoying it.
Thank you very much, and we will talk about innovation later. Professor Bengin, please.
Thank you. So I'm the co-founder of BioSense Institute in Novi Sad, Serbia. BioSense is a European Center of Research Excellence for digital agriculture. This means that we are scientists developing sensors, micro nanoelectronics, artificial intelligence algorithms, but also we've taken upon ourselves a different role, a role of ecosystem builder. So we collaborate across sectors, obviously with farmers in the region, but also we work a lot to boost the IT sector of the region, which is another very important sector here. I also coordinate European project Antares, which is the biggest ever single investment into Serbian science. With around 30 million euros, we boost research across the region. But again, as a final result of these research developments, we want to see economic growth of the region. And let me just conclude by mentioning that digital transformation, or digital revolution, as it is often called, could be the key ingredient needed for this region to finally speed up and finally run this race better than the other were in the past.
Thank you very much for introduction. Professor Vlačić, please.
Yeah, my name is Ernest Vlačić, and basically I'm wearing several hats. The first one is the academia hat. I'm a professor on various universities in Croatia, and I'm starting now also as a professor on the Belgrade University of Metropolitan on the faculty of FEFA. So I'm wearing not only a hat of my profession, but I'm also wearing a different locational hats. The second one is basically I'm a founder and managing director of private research and development organization in which we participated in more than 30 European research and development projects. Usually these are Horizon and FP7. And of course, we are participating also in our Croatian national projects, but majority are Europe-based or Europe-based financed. And the third hat that I'm wearing is I'm president of the Croatian National Innovation Council in Energy and Environment. And with that hat, I used to participate and lead my council in creation of several strategic documents of Republic of Croatia, the National Development Strategy, the S3 strategies that we are now proposing to the European Commission, the innovation strategies. And so we used to build our national innovation ecosystem as it is today. So probably we'll discuss it a little bit later.
Thank you very much. Actually, as all of you presented, you are leaders of digital transformation, ACG, in your communities from very different perspective, what is amazing actually for this panel discussion, because we are able actually to touch this problem for different positions, different stakeholders, because it's really, really important to engage the whole community. Otherwise, we will not be successful in this story. Also, it's very important to lead this discussion that we're thinking about technology and operational part, but also political part, and all three layers of the topics we will touch actually should be affirmative, successfully done. Otherwise, actually, our intention is to bring ECG in our reality will not be successful and will not create the world we are imagining for 21st century. So I will start actually with the title of our panel, trying to demystify the words green innovation. So Mr. Begu, you were director of Innovation Center, and your background is related to innovations. I would like to, I will actually ask you to help me to demystify meaning of innovation. And then we have a prefix green. What does it mean? What is the key meaning? Because we heard innovation so many times in this event, but I will just ask everybody, let's try to define meaning of innovation. So also I'm an engineer and I have a lot of colleagues. We always, it's a trap actually that we are thinking that innovation is always about ICT and technologies. We need innovative social model, innovative business model, many innovative things that we are at the end of the story that we are successful. So maybe you can help me to.
Yeah, I'm the one who has to do the $1 million, give you the $1 million question, the answer to that. Look, I think when we started playing, I would say with the word innovation, of course, we ourselves did not know much what we were getting into. But along the way and talking to different stakeholders, but also talking to youth, talking to partners, meeting international partners, you see that innovation is nothing more than just creating a solution service that really improves the life of people, and from a simple form. Of course, technology is a tool that helps us get there. And now we're using the word innovation and green, digital and green, entrepreneurship, startup. I think all these words in various ways are used interchangeably to create an added value to an existing economies, but also values that we have as a society. At Innovation Center Kosovo, it was exactly this component that we took as part of our vision on how we can use new ideas, new processes, new technologies in order to improve the standard of living from different aspects of what we have. What are our daily problems? What are our challenges that we can use? So we were not aiming for the next, as many would, the next unicorn or the next Tesla or Google or Microsoft. Obviously, would be happy to have that, but we started from small problems and we focused on these small problems. So in a way, this is how we, at least, gave a definition of what we would expect as a community and where the support should come in. And then from there you build, because you create a value, you create a mindset, you create also a generation of visionaries. Look, we had a challenge, I would say mainly it's a challenge of the region. We were facing not so many of good role models when it came to business, because any transitional economy and the ones we had in the Western Balkans really did not maybe produce the good role models. I'm not saying that they're not, obviously, but usually the businesses were very traditional, family businesses. And just now we're seeing that new generation of young entrepreneurs, women and men, who are taking a lead and, again, are including values that really would serve generations to come on what, and this is the difference between a businessman and the entrepreneur that we sometimes use. So in short, I think this is what I would say. Of course, there is, I'm guessing, tens of thousands of definitions of what innovation is and how people perceive it. And I think oftentimes it's abused as a word. And of course, we're here to fix it. So.
Yeah, it's actually sometimes about marketing. We can find innovations or smart everywhere. It becomes a buzzword. We're actually trying to demystify that. I will just add a small question about green part.
Yeah.
How to actually to step into green part when we are standing at innovation. Okay, for example, from perspective of Innovation Center of Kosovo, I'm pretty sure you were working with the young entrepreneurs to try to be some kind of model and mentor, whatever.
Absolutely.
And then how you will push good people into green? What you will tell them?
You create the proper ecosystem in which they understand, again, the problems. And obviously, it's not just the political green agenda which comes top down. It's the basic human needs of having the green around and a better environment. So obviously the pollution in some of our cities in the region compares to the ones in the most industrialized cities in China. And that is, people have the technology to see the problem is existing as a problem. And obviously those that have the ambition to solve this problematic issue will take steps in order to address this issue. And for us as facilitators of this process, government institutions, research institutions, incubators, and other instruments, financial, we should be working together in order to help these bright minds really address these issues. And of course, the green becomes inevitably, at this point in time, not just because of the buzz, but because people are more aware. I think some of the problems we had maybe in the past 10 years are not so relevant, and people are more oriented now toward the community. And this is the good momentum we have, which we really need to make use of it. And we should not be doing the same mistakes that we did when we started nurturing the tech sector, because now, at least from my perspective, we are seen as an outsourcing region and not adding so much value to our own, let's say, local development and creating that. So I think now we have a chance to become part of this global movement, but not just as small actors, but as significant players and drivers of the global change.
Thank you very much. So as you said, we are looking for great role models, great examples. And luckily, I have a great example here, Professor Bengin, BioSense Institute, only one center of excellence outside of European Union, in the Western Balkans region, your success story. I'm expecting that you can maybe help me about the second part of our title, future-proof technologies. You are, in BioSense, you have an amazing story about digital villages, about digital transformation, agriculture. You are actually mastermind of how to engage modern technologies to solving different problem challenges. And actually, agriculture is the perfect layer for success for the ECG model. Can you maybe tell us this technology part, how we can bring engineering together with ECG?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. Having spent 2 days here in the conference, I also see digital transformation and ESG, as, let's call it, two sides of the same coin. With digital transformation of agriculture, what we want to accomplish is actually very simple in words, but in practice it's quite difficult. We want to invest less money, less fertilizers, less water, less human labor, less of everything. We want to have higher yields, so more outputs and higher quality of yields, while at the same time minimizing risks. And in agriculture, majority, like 4 out of 5 risks are related to the weather, so there is not really much you can control. And this basically could be said for any other sector as well. If you want to optimize it, you need to minimize the inputs, maximize the outputs, and minimize the risks. And in using digital technologies to achieve this, we have seen that not everything holds as classic businessmen would say it. For example, I talked to some of you here in the past 2 days, and I more than once heard our primary concern is competitiveness. And that sounds great, but this means that putting environmental and social issues is like we are maybe too poor to deal with this. Let me use agriculture as an example where you can clearly see that without environmental and social concerns, we will not have agriculture at all. For example, whenever there is an agricultural field, that means that the natural ecosystem is reduced to smaller areas. And if you could imagine a situation in which entire land is turned into agricultural fields, there would be no agriculture because there would be no pollinators. So in agriculture, it is very well understood that maintaining biodiversity and taking care of the environment is actually super important for your primary business, agriculture. As for the social inclusion, only in Serbia we have 600,000 households that are small producers. So in the region, that means millions of people who are actually desperate in a way, who cannot do agriculture in the same way they used to. So digital solutions are needed to help them as well. Okay, so to conclude, I see that by doing digital transformation of agricultural sector and agri-food sector, you're at the same time ticking all the boxes of ESG.
Actually, that's amazing story. It's really, really important that we have example of BioSense. I have just small question. It's the model of BioSense and everything what you did and your impact to the ecosystem in Serbia. Is that transferable, for example, to Croatia, Kosovo, Montenegro? That's the role model, that's the inspiration, but also it's feasible in compare, for example, to country size or starting point. We are similar but different.
I would say absolutely it is. This is the role that we took upon ourselves, which is rather complex. So we work a lot to boost the entire ecosystem. But again, I would like to re-quote one of the keynote speakers, Robert Scavo, who said, who cares wins. So we, as a research institute, we are creating ideas and prototypes. We need an entire ecosystem of startups, businesses, industry, who will take up these technology readiness level 5 or 6 results from us and turn them into real products. So as a research institution, we see a big importance into directly investing into the startup community. We have our own accelerator, BioSense Accelerator. We distributed over 16 million euros of grants to not only Serbian regional, but European SMEs, putting us, Serbia and the region, at the map of European innovations.
That's amazing. Now, Mrs. Drakić, you are our host here, and thank you very much. And we are enjoying here in Montenegro. So we are talking about green innovation. As a president of the Chamber of Commerce here, you are communicating with the companies. You are at the first line of this process, so you have a lot of information, what's going on in the field. You communicating with different stakeholders. Can you tell us more about what's going on now in Montenegro, what we can actually expect, and maybe next year when we come again for this summit, something will change, maybe you have some perspectives, plans?
Thank you for your question. Kao što sam i rekla u prethodnom krugu, zelena i cirkularna tranzicija i ekonomija definitivno su se potvrdile kao neophodnost, zbog čega i govorimo ova 2 dana na ESG Summitu, i tu neophodnost potvrdila je i zdravstvena kriza koju smo imali, koja je pogodila čitav svijet. I te činjenice je Crna Gora postala svjesna i donijela strategiju cirkularne transformacije do 2030. godine s akcionim planom. Vlada Crne Gore, a koju je radila na bazi mape puta Crne Gore ka cirkularnoj ekonomiji, koju je pripremila, koju je radila Privredna komora u saradnji sa UNDP-om i značajnim brojem međunarodnih eksperata. Upravo cilj tog dokumenta bio je da promijenimo fokus, da promijenimo način razmišljanja ka principima cirkularne ekonomije, ka fokusu da donosioci odluka kreiraju politike u pravcu cirkularnih principa, i upravo kroz mapu puta Crne Gore ka cirkularnoj ekonomiji prepoznali smo 5 prioritetnih oblasti koje su važne: prehrambeni šumski sistemi, izgrađeno okruženje, turizam i proizvodnja i prirodni resursi i bogat biodiverzitet Crne Gore u osnovi ove cirkularne tranzicije. Ono što je važno jeste da za naše strukturu crnogorske privrede, koja je sama po sebi specifična, da značajan broj, preko 98%, čine mikro i mala preduzeća, za takve nove tranzicije ka cirkularnim i zelenim pričama neophodne su finansijske podrške, i u tom segmentu postoje značajni evropski fondovi, ali oni su još uvijek usmjereni na prenos znanja, jačanje kapaciteta institucija i slično, nisu dovoljni da to podrže. Ono što imamo pozitivne primjere pojedinih i institucija i kompanija u državnom vlasništvu. Evo, juče ste imali priliku da čujete od Elektroprivrede Crne Gore, koja realizuje projekte Solar 3000 plus i 500 plus. Naš investiciono razvojni fond takođe od sredstava kroz Francusku razvojnu agenciju obezbijedio je 50 miliona eura podrške, od kojih će 60% biti usmjereni upravo u zelene inovacije i zelene projekte. Takođe imamo novoosnovani fond za inovacije koji takođe realizuje određeni broj projekata. Programom vlade Crne Gore za unapređenje konkurentnosti u 2023. godini opredeljeno je oko 600.000 eura za cirkularnu ekonomiju. Znači, to su sve segmenti koji su, da kažem, pozitivan signal, ali to neće biti dovoljno da sve kompanije pređu na ovaj model, a prije toga svakako neophodna je i značajna edukacija. To je nešto na čemu Privredna komora radi. Već smo radili značajan broj tema i podtema koje se tiču cirkularne zelene ekonomije, ESG standarda i to je ono što nam je u planu da radimo u narednom periodu i sa finansijerima kao što su naše banke i direktno sa mikro i malim srednjim preduzećima u Crnoj Gori.
But we can expect, for example, in maybe next 1 year, 2 years, that we have some quick wins in Montenegro, maybe one good example or something. We have that kind of vision.
Da, kao dobar primjer, evo, ovaj summit je upravo u Porto Montenegru i Porto Montenegro je prepoznat kao frontrunner tokom izrade mape puta Crne Gore ka cirkularnoj ekonomiji, jer upravo infrastruktura u marini posjeduje pogone za tretman otpadnih voda i ulja iz jahti, što nema ni jedna marina na Jadranu i mali broj marina uopšte u svijetu, tako da upravo sjedimo u jednom kompleksu koji poštuje ove vrste standarda. Tokom ovih dana takođe imala sam razgovori sa predstavnicima, na primjer, NLB banke koji stvaraju dodatne napore kako bi usvojili ESG standarde, odnosno ih implementirali potpuno u svom poslovanju u Crnoj Gori i u drugim zemljama regiona, a takođe vjerujem da je i značajan broj malih kompanija još uvijek nije svjestan da možda i sami posluju po principima ESG standarda, ali mi još uvijek nismo usvojili ni taj princip, odnosno izvještavanja, nefinansijskog izvještavanja kada je u pitanju poslovanje određenih kompanija i koliko je ono usklađeno sa ovim standardom, na čemu trebamo svakako raditi u narednom periodu.
Thank you very much. This is the great starting point for Professor Vlačić to continue about, talking about policies, about legislation. You are coming from Croatia. Croatia is a member of the European Union, so you have that kind of perspective. And as all of us, we are aware that actually the Western Balkan region is at very early stage for this ESG story. So, and our economies actually have been struggling for a few decades here. Can we use this ESG and digital transformation, digital revolution as some kind of chance for leapfrog effect to jump into, let's say, European community comparing to what's going on there? About, for example, from the perspective of policies, legislation, regulations, financing models, can you just share some experience? And we heard a lot about what's going on and what is the plan of Montenegro. Maybe you have some advice of experience to share.
Yeah, this is the right word. We are just in exceptional position to make that leapfrog. But now we have to see how can we make that leapfrog. But first of all, and I wouldn't say that this area is far away from Croatia or far away from Europe. This summit demonstrates what kind of potential and what kind of capacities we have. We have been witnessing extraordinary topics and extraordinary participants and speakers, and it's incredible. And what is then common with what we are now saying now, in almost all of discussions, we understood how innovation is important. It's important in several segments. One is the ESG, when we are discussing corporations and we are discussing companies. All three components are having space to innovate. E component, we've seen several examples how the E is feasible to develop the technologies that will tackle the E component. We have the S component where the social innovation is then dominant. And then we have the G component where European Union is now coming with something that is called experimental governance that allows us to be innovative and creative even in the governance segment. Not only, so we can come with different governance models, not only in the private sector, but they are encouraging also to be creative in public sector as well. So as good as you are in innovating, even in the public sector, then your competitive advantage will be higher. But let me just stress the importance of what is really going on now. So we have a European policy discourse that is already established. It is there, and we are on the path of the green transition, on the Green Deal. The second component, which is crucial, is the financing. We have several thousand billions of euros now available for Europe, but also for the accessing countries that will access sooner or later the European Union. But yesterday we heard a very important message. Although the money is here and the policy discourse is here, the quality of projects is questionable. The quality of projects that we are proposing is questionable. And also, I would add to your question, those projects should be all more or less green.
But why? Why we have that problem with quality of projects?
Why?
We are not innovative enough? Or
no,
what?
I have a theory. And but it's not necessarily the true one. I mean, the right one. Because, you know, you are innovative when you have the basis or the knowledge on something. If you don't have the basis or knowledge on something, it's difficult to be innovative on almost nothing. You know? So basically, you need to have, say, an industry. You need to have an infrastructure. You need to have, I would say, a public support. Or, for example, how the United States is creating the innovation. They are calling for the public innovation in a sense of the government proposes a need, and then the companies in the United States are innovating on the basis on the proposed need that the government is offering. So I mean, when you have the strong basis, then you can easily innovate. I mean, it's not easy. A creation process is not simple one, but it's simple. Then it's simple, much simpler when you don't have nothing to innovate. So the strong, I would say, a stronger industrial base would be perfect test bed to create innovations. And we have a fantastic example here of Vesna, where their test bed was the agriculture, and they have decided to create on that test bed first-class innovation. So
I agree. Of course.
Thank you very much
Welcome.
for your nice words. But I would like to disagree with you, but only in an effort to raise hope with the audience. We do not have industry like US does. And for many years, when I was a young researcher, that hindered me a lot. And people around me were saying exactly that. You know, there is not much we can do. We don't have labs, we don't have industry. But then what we did was that we changed the way of thinking. Researchers very often behave, and let me give this example, I think we're all familiar with that, of a spoiled cook in a restaurant who would just make a perfect meal and give it to the waiter and help him go and sell this. That's not how restaurants work. The waiter will come to the customer, ask you what it is that you want, and then the cook with Michelin star will make that exact dish the best one you've ever had. So this is exactly what we did with our research approach. We started talking to the farmers, or whatever industry you choose. You go out there, you talk to them, you see what their actual need is. And then if you're smart enough, you'll be able to use your science and your thinking and your innovations to do what is exactly needed. And that is how innovations are formed. So by doing science on demand, basically. And let me just add one more sentence about the governance. Where in Serbia, I was part of 4 laws that were passed quite recently. We also realized that our researchers are lagging behind in terms of European projects. And these funds are open to everybody, to Montenegro, the entire West Balkans, as if we were members of the European Union, but we are not using them. And one of the reasons that we have detected is because our researchers for many years were relying on national funding only, on some kind of old-fashioned project types that they were writing and getting this small funding. So we changed the way that science is funded in Serbia. We introduced Science Fund. We also introduced a program structure, which is very typical to Horizon,
So while applying to national projects, our researchers are at the same time being trained on how to apply to European projects.
Yeah. Initially, I wanted to greet the Prime Minister, Abazović, who came. Pleasure having you here. I just wanted to follow up. Obviously, public funding and public spending is super important. As critical as it is, I believe the private sector should be the leader and should lead the process forward when it comes to innovation. In this regard, I think we have some positive examples in the region from which we can learn, but also then when it comes to this smaller layers of new innovation and startups and the communication with corporates, it becomes super difficult. So I think we have to improve our, let's say, inner dialogue when it comes to that sort of communication from within. Focusing on what makes a good and sound innovation ecosystem, I think we had some, I would say, obstacles, but also the way unfortunately, we are super fragmented as small countries, regions, communities, economies, you name it. But on top of that, we're not so diverse. And in order to have a good and solid, and we compare it oftentimes to US, is that US is diverse, is inclusive, not just of different cultures and races, but also professions, backgrounds, social and demographical backgrounds. So in this context, I think we have to improve our mindset, the way we focus, and the way we perceive this innovation, and how inclusive are we in this concept. The fragmentation which we have as a region is really our biggest obstacle in attracting large funds and large investment funds in the region. Imagine, I believe there's, if we're talking about Western Balkans 6, there's 6 different e-commerce platforms. That means 6 startups have spent probably more, but just like 6 startups have spent enormous effort, wasted money. There are 6 directors, and they're all serving small markets instead of having a bigger and then bigger. So obviously, we would not be attracted by Amazon or someone to come and acquire these small, just as an example of how this prevents us from growing.
Actually, you just opened one topic, but I will ask Professor Bengin about new business models. We need to be innovative also on operational level, because we really need to change the way we are thinking. From the perspective of technology and the conventional meaning of innovation, there is no chance that ECG can win in the regular business models as we have right now. We need to subside, to push this innovation in ECG process somehow. New business models, your experience for BioSense, I would like to hear a little bit about that, just to discuss about operational level now.
Well, basically, I heard 2 questions in one, so let me start by first, and maybe going back to what you have said and what you, Aleksandar, also mentioned. I truly do believe that digital revolution is a great chance for our region. First 3 industrial revolutions yielded their winners, and those were, everybody knows, UK, US, Far East. We never stood a chance. West Balkans never stood a chance. We were too small. First 3 industrial revolutions required already a big capital, big infrastructure, big technologies for those days. But now digital technologies are basically technologies of the poor. So you just need a computer, and you can do software. And Serbian IT sector is a very good example of an autonomous or autochthon sector that grew to very impressive size and now became a significant part of Serbian exports. So what we're trying to do is to boost this further, especially with the IT sector. We are not, I know majority of these companies, they're doing outsourcing. And that's great. I mean, they're earning money, families are living nicely, but we would like to see them having their own products so that the actual added value remains in Serbia. And that's what we are doing through the accelerator. And then furthermore, why just limit imagination of these people to software? Because they don't have access to the labs. Well, we do have labs. So now we are running this shared research facility, and we experimented with this in one of the European projects, where we are actually allowing entrepreneurs and innovative companies to use our labs, to use highly sophisticated technologies that we have, so that they can come up with hardware products and hardware innovations. And believe it or not, it's working. There are so many smart people out there that just need the right environment.
Thank you very much. Actually, Mrs. Drakić, we are coming again, and I'm still thinking about Montenegro because that's something what you represent here. Let's imagine you heard a lot of stories here in this panel. If you have a power to ask for something, from any help from us, from experts, from financing institutions, what do you think it's the critical barrier for the success of ESG story in Montenegro, and what you would like to ask for help and for action from all of us as a community around this topic?
Pa, vrlo interesantno pitanje. Ono što smo mogli iz prethodnih diskusija da zaključimo i da čujemo jeste da upravo zelene inovacije, cirkularna ekonomija je nešto što može iz izazova stvoriti, da od izazova napravimo šanse kroz neka inovativna rješenja, zelena rješenja, i to je ono što trebamo na neki način i komunicirati ka mikro, malim i srednjim preduzećima da bi našu ekonomiju učinili održivima. Da bi to sve uspjeli, ono što bih tražila, to jeste upravo ovo znanje, ekspertiza, sve više ovakvih skupova, edukacija, da osvijestimo da je to nama potrebno i da je to šansa. Mi u Crnoj Gori, koja je zemlja u procesu pristupanja Evropskoj uniji, u kojoj nas čekaju značajni izazovi da je u pitanju zaštita životne sredine, upravo u ovim segmentima zelene i cirkularne ekonomije moramo naći šansu, ne izazov, ne problem, nego šansu koju ćemo iskoristiti da pretvorimo ono možda što nam je otpad sjutra u resurs za neku drugu aktivnost i da to valorizujemo. Znači, to je ta zaokružena priča koju na ovako maloj prostoru, u zemlji koja je bogata resursima, a opet sa druge strane siromašna ako to stalno trošite bez obnavljanja, onda definitivno jeste da pođemo od edukacije, od promjene set minda, promjene svijesti našeg stanovništva na svakom nivou, od pojedinaca do kompanija, kako bih mogli da napravimo uspjeh kada je u pitanju cirkularna ekonomija i zelena ekonomija. A ovo smo čuli, fondovi postoje kako, da kažem, nacionalni, tako i fondovi i sa aspekta Evropske unije, jer smo i potpisnici Sofijske deklaracije. Evropska unija je donijela zelenu agendu, zelena agenda za Zapadni Balkan. Sve su to, da kažem, osnove, i kao sami smo donijeli strategiju cirkularne transformacije. Također u prethodnom periodu donijeli smo strategiju pametne specijalizacije, gdje smo IT sektor prepoznati kao horizontalni sektor koji treba da doprinese razvoju ovih ostalih naših strateških sektora, tako da preduslove imamo, ali moramo jako puno raditi i sinergijski djelovati. Kolega koji je pominjao e-commerce, gdje imamo 6 različitih platformi u regionu, mislimo da sa boljim korištenjem resursa, sa većom sinergijom i zajedništvom možemo postići mnogo više.
That's amazing. Actually, if I can conclude, it's about the skills, training, awareness. We should create more events like this. We can involve experts. We can actually, for Montenegro, we need to create some bridges for transfer technologies, experience, knowledge, whatever, and just support your process on that. So financing is not a problem.
Zaboravila sam da dodam, u Privrednoj komori ćemo u maju lansirati hub za cirkularnu ekonomiju, koja će biti online platforma gdje ćemo prikupljati za širenje informacija, najboljih praksi, rješenja, mogućnosti za saradnju, i vjerujemo da će i u bliskoj budućnosti to imati, da kažem, i svoj fizički karakter, da će ljudi zaposleni u Privrednoj komori pružati informacije, savjete kompanijama kada je u pitanju ovaj segment. Tako da je to nešto na čemu radimo i što razvijamo.
Congratulations, that's great. So we don't have too much time.
So I would really say, from our example, it is really important that 3 components of the triple helix, the private sector, the public sector, and the academia are working intensively together, because I think this is the crucial and the most important word. It's cooperation. We have to cooperate, and it's very important when the representatives of the private sector feel involved in what the government and what the academia is doing, because then you create new possibilities and opportunities, and then you create and you multiply the absorptive capacity, bi-directional absorptive capacity, and that's very important. So governments stay with your animals, I would say, yeah.
Thank you. Professor Bengin.
Well, to continue, the secret ingredient in all of these players, in my opinion, is people. So if you have the right people and right positions, then magic can happen. And as they say, every project needs a champion. So when it comes to ESG in the region, I'm pretty confident that our champion, Biljana Drakić, will make this happen.
And to continue on this, then, people definitely need platforms. I'm happy that we have, obviously, this platform that we started this discussion. I hope we will continue to grow as a community, as role models. At the same time, I truly hope that the good examples from the region, which we have presented, not just during this summit, but also in the past, have really brought, again, plug and play and opportunities, others like plug and play, to come in the region and invest and co-invest with us in order to really make this region a better one. Thank you for having us.
Hvala. Hvala na kraju. Pa ja sam i u prethodnom izlaganju, da kažem, poslala poruku da i kolege su se složile da je to upravo zajedništvo, sinergija, i profesor što je govorio, zajedništvo između privatnog sektora, javnog sektora i akademske, odnosno naučne zajednice je nešto, taj trougao koji je neizostavan da bi se u smislu zelenih inovacija i inovacija generalno napravio uspjeh.
As we are closing panel, I will just say a few words. Thank you, Sustainary partners. Thank you, Biljana Brajva, to bring us here. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us until the end. Thank you, your Prime Minister Abazović, for coming, for supporting, because your presence is already the message for Montenegro, for all of us, that this is on top agenda of our development here in the Western Balkans region. Thank you, my dear colleagues, my panelists here, for helping me to demystify all these topics. I will just say one sentence more. Innovations are not only about technologies. Technology is just a tool in our hands. If you believe at any moment, when we talk about, you think about any problem that technology can solve, only technology can solve your problems. Without people, you don't have idea about your problems and challenges, and you don't have idea about technology.